After a year of trying to decide what prime lens kit I wanted, I finally decided on the DZO Vespid Primes. We're going to take a look at why these ones stood out and why they may be the perfect kit for you. So a little while back, a friend of mine named Tristan was looking at one of the videos that I put together, and I asked him to give me some honest feedback on it. And one of the things that he said to me is that I got to start shooting with prime lenses. And I listened to what he was saying, and I was like, okay, cool. So I need to figure out how I can get my hands on some prime lenses and figure out what type of stuff I can shoot with them. One of the things that he mentioned to me that kind of stood out was a lot of these cinematographers that are getting these bigger budget projects are all shooting on prime lenses. Whether it's the Aries Signature Primes or Rokinon Primes, doesn't matter. The fact is that they're not using zoom lenses. And after that conversation, I started to think about how I could start leveling up my productions and how I could start taking my skills to the next level. I took his criticism to heart, but in a good way, and started really focusing on how to get the most out of lenses. With a large variety of options on the market, such as the Nisi Athena Primes, which was very, very close in terms of which kit I was going to decide to go with. Then I also looked at the Mikey Primes, and probably I would say those are the most cost-efficient prime lens kits out right now. And then we had the Samyang Zines, which are pretty fairly on par with the total price of the DZO films, or the individual price of the DZO films. And then we had the dual lens. These ones were interesting and priced fairly well, but they had a really strange focal lengths and not many options to choose from. But the one company that really stood out amongst a bunch were the DZO Vespid Primes. If you know anything about me, I have a very fine taste for quality and overall aesthetics for the things I want to use or decide to buy. Don't ask me why I'm like this. You would think I'm rich or something. But the Vespid Primes checked quite a few boxes for me. I decided to start off with the 16mm, 35, and 90mm macro, mainly because these are the focal lengths that I use the most often in the 16 and 35, and I never really had the opportunity to use a micro lens before, so that to me was going to be interesting. I also love the build quality. The lenses are really put together really well. I think they're made out of aluminum and some plastic and stuff like that, but just holding them in your hands, you can feel that they have a solid feel and weight to them. Where you feel like, yeah, these are not cheap. These might actually do a good job with what I need them for. Another thing that I really loved about them was the size and weight. These would be considered a compact cinema lens, and all of them had the focus ring and aperture ring in the same place. This is perfect for anybody that's ever used a gimbal or want to put on a matte box or anything that uses a focus motor. One issue that I am going to have to try and figure out is using the matte box with my 16mm, because the element protrudes so much that I can't just use a screw-on filter like the other ones. But for the other ones, this is a huge factor because it saves so much time and allows me to move seamlessly from one lens to another. I also really love the yellow and black design and the fact that you can see the distance markings in both feet and inches. Personally, I opted to go with the PL version of the lenses so I could use my kit on a large variety of productions, as PL lenses is a more accepted option in the industry. RF is pretty new, but as a native option, there are not a lot of cameras that use it. So what I decided to do was get the DZO Film PL to RF adapter, which in my opinion looks sick, especially on the KOMODO X. For those of you watching that have no idea what PL stands for, it's positive lock. And the reason why I love this is because instead of it essentially lining up and screwing in like your most conventional lens, what you do instead is you push it into the adapter and then you turn a lock on the lens, which makes it wiggle free across any lens that you use on any camera. And honestly, it's just so satisfying to feel it lock in securely. I also chose the DZO Film option because they have a very wide range of focal lengths, with a complete kit sitting at 12 lenses. I think for me personally, the next ones I decide to get is going to be the 50, 75, 100, and maybe 125. And if I would only go with two, maybe the 100 and 125. Just so that I have enough options to cover both my cameras regardless of the situation. Let's take a look at some of this footage that I got with these lenses. One of the things I really loved about these lenses on this shoot was that it was just extremely lightweight. I was able to put the lenses on my camera and go handheld for the entire day and not feel any type of fatigue. I mean, Your boy has been in the gym a little bit, so that may have helped a little bit as well. But regardless, they were very lightweight, easy to use, easy to run around with. The other thing I really loved about these lenses on this shoe was how the lenses flared. And I mean, everybody talks about how these lenses are like a vintage, modern-y type feel, and I honestly felt it because if we're thinking about them like in comparison to like my Sigma Cine Zooms, they're not perfect lenses. They do have these different artifacts and chromatic aberration, and their bokeh is not completely spherical. They have these imperfections, but when you look at it with the type of work that I want to shoot with them, it's just beautiful. And throughout this shoot, I did have to change the focal lengths quite a few times, and it was so quick and easy. I think that might be my favorite part about PL mounts is just that to get it from one lens to the other, it just happens right away. There's no screwing, there's no lining up. It's just you put it in there, you turn it, and you lock it in. I absolutely love that. And if we look at the footage again, like in my honest opinion, this is some of the best looking content I've ever created. I don't know what it is exactly. It could be the lighting, it could be the camera movement, it could be just the idea that I put in, or I can give some credit to these lenses. They made every single frame that I shot look completely organic and amazing in my opinion. All right, let's take a quick break, guys. If you look down at my subscriber count right now and it's under 10,000, guess what? My giveaway is still happening. If you didn't know, I'm going to be giving away the Amaran 100C to one lucky winner. And to enter, it's so simple. All you have to do is subscribe to my channel, then head down to the link in the description and join the mailing list for FILMMAKER Pro. And that's it. If you're one of the people that want to increase their chances of winning, you can also do a few extra steps that's also in the link below. We're almost there. So if you haven't had a chance to join yet, let today be the day. Let's get back to the video. The last thing I want to talk about with these lenses is its 10 lens carry case. It's essentially a Pelican case with the cutouts for each lens. And I think that it's great that each lens has a spot that's perfectly cut out so there's no wiggle. And of course, if you spend this much on a lens, you should have a safe way to travel with them. Nothing irritates me more than seeing someone with like expensive equipment and they just carry it around in like a box or something. Like, if there's one thing I'm going to say to you guys, take care of your gear. Buy cases and put your items in the cases and keep them safe. So let's talk about a few things I didn't really like. One of the things was that the lens caps have a very specific way that they have to go on. Otherwise, there's going to be a gap between the cap and the lens. For me, I think DZO could have done a better job with this and just make it a complete cutout that just goes right over the top of the lens so that it can go on anyway. This little gap that you have to line it up with is just annoying. The next thing is that the bodies of the lenses are close in size, but not exactly the same. And I mean, I guess that's expected because the 90mm macro and the 16mm wide angle require specific lens elements. So this is annoying because if I have to put it on a gimbal, I will have to make some adjustments. The last thing is that the T-stops goes from 2.1 and 2.8 on a 16mm, which is fast, but I feel like it could have been a little bit faster. If it was like a 1.8, that would have been like perfect. So that's honestly all that I could really come up with, and even that was a reach. Overall, they are a really nice kit. I can see myself using these on a variety of shoots. They aren't as clinical and clean as my Sigma Cine Zoom, so the option to use something that has more character is very welcome in my kit. Over the next few months, I have a pretty fun lineup of work that these lenses are going to cover. The goal now will be to use them and learn a bit more about their strengths and weaknesses. I'll definitely circle back in a few weeks and give a more detailed review on my experience with them. But for now, that's going to be it for this video. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments below. And if this video helped you in any way, make sure you hit that like button so more people can see it. Thanks again for watching, guys. And remember to look, learn, and share. Take it easy, guys. Peace.